Hello everyone, Annyeonghaseyo Yorobun. How are you today? Welcome to the channel, welcome to another stream, and welcome to another video. Finally, right? It seems like I haven't put a video for a little while. Maybe about a week or so, a week and a half, something like that. Maybe it's been 2. I don't know. I don't even know now. Because I've been working on this guy, not this guy. I spent about a week putting this guy together. This little Gundam. Yes. This guy used to be a nice light blue and orange color. Of course, he kind of gets washed out in all of this. Doesn't he? Let's change our scene. Change our scene here. I gotta show you guys this because this guy looks really cool. This is the Zaku slash Phantom, I believe it's called. And look at those weapons. These weapons, like, holy crap. This guy is ready for battle. So, I spent about 2 hours a day over the course of a week assembling this guy. Then I took him all apart and I primered him and then I painted him. I spent a full day just painting the camouflage on this guy. And I was showing a friend of mine and she said, you have to show it on the video. Right? Even though you guys don't really want to watch me building Gundams, she said, you have to show it on the video because then who's going to see it? And so I thought, okay, today I'm going to introduce this guy and I'm going to switch over to my painting cam here and I'm going to see if the lighting is better, if you get to see it a little better. Oh yeah, there you go. Now you can see all that camouflage paint I did on him. Yeah. He is nothing like what he looked like originally at all. Totally 100% different colors. Yeah. So that's him. There you go. Anyway, so that's him. If you want to see what he looked like before, go to my Instagram. There'll be links down below there. I've put pictures up on my Instagram of what this guy looked like originally, and of course what he looks like now. So let me just put him aside and yeah, let's put him back on the shelf where I had him. All right, so getting to what we're doing today. Again, we're working on this guy here. This is the F-18E by Meng, and we are doing the Mavericks version from Top Gun. So we already have the nose done, and I have laid down primer. Well, basically I've primered the whole kit, and I've installed the wing extensions on the one side. And that's it. And that's basically where we left off. And then I went and started doing that Gundam. So, looking at the instructions. We've done the cockpit. We've put the fuselage together with the front landing gear bay in there. Put our wing extensions on. We've built up our air intakes and main landing gear bays. Those are done. We're all finished on these. Okay. I haven't done any weathering in here. No weathering effects yet. Just simply all that is the white paint over the black primer, which already gives it that kind of a nice pre-shaded look, almost as if it gone in there with a bunch of panel liner. So that's kind of cool how that you get that effect. So next, this page is now finished, so we're going to move on to some assembly. So we've got to grab the lower fuselage here. I'm going to put these pieces in, but we need 2 more pieces to go in here. A41 and 42. So let's grab our A tree here. Let's put that die over here. Let's find our A. Let's see. A. Okay. Let's grab our nippers here. A41 and 42. I am going to change my glasses just so I can see a little bit better. I did wind up getting a new camera for the painting. I don't know if you guys noticed, the quality on that was much better than it's been. I was using a Logitech Brio, and although it did the job, it just wasn't. It's kind of funny to say today. It's only 1080p, 4K capable, but not in a full frame. So the quality just wasn't there, and so I wanted to get a better camera, and I did, and it came in yesterday, and so I am really happy with it. I might swap it out for my overhead one, but I'll have to do some experimenting with that maybe later on. Where's my knife? I know I was using my knife for another project, and I don't have it on my table here. So just a second. Well, my knife seems to have gone AWOL on me, so I don't even have my knife. But that's okay, I can get away without it for now. It's just gonna bug me a little bit, not knowing exactly where I put it. That's the problem, you know, you take it away from your workstation, you use it for something else, and you put it down, and you forget where you put it. That's great. Oh well, I can get away with filing these little nubs down instead of trimming them with the knife. Just going to take a little longer, that's all. That's all. It's just going to take a little longer to clean them up. There we go. Okay. That's one. Okay, those are cleaned up. So, what do we want to do here? We're going to put these pieces in first, and they're going to go in right here. They've got a couple of little slots where they're supposed to go. They go in this way, and they notch in, looks like right here. The nature of them makes them seem like they don't really line up, because the only two things that guide them are the two pins here that go in these holes. Which I'm sorry, it's hard to see now that this whole kit is black. But you'll know it's lined up when you get it lined up here on this edge, right in here. Okay? And that's lined up. It doesn't line up. There's a big gap here. There's a gap here. It doesn't. That's not a guide for you. The only thing is to get these things in those holes. So, speaking of pegs in the holes, let's get some glue on there. And of course, with the glue on there, they slide in the holes really nicely. So we're just going to do a little test fit on this one. And yep, fits absolutely perfect. So, let's glue those. Thank you, airplane, for giving me the background effects. You know, it's kind of ironic. 15 minutes ago, excuse me, 15 minutes ago, the airplanes were not taking off. And I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be good. I'm not going to have any interruptions while I'm talking. Guess what? You're proving me wrong. Okay, so now we got to put these in. And these are definitely lefts and rights, as you can tell by the orientation on these, on the way the intake runners go. So let's see, is this the right one? Nope, that's backwards. So it's going to go on this side. And you got to kind of, the landing gear bay's got to go up under, but this part has to go forward here. So you got to kind of do this with it, kind of sneak it in there under, and then it does just kind of lock in and it doesn't move. So we've got a line along here where it's going to go in. I can put some glue here and here on those edges, and then that'll all line up just like that and sit in there just like so. Okay. Now some of you guys, you might be wondering, why do I use the thicker glue instead of the thin on so many parts, when the thin would be easier and be a little more hidden? Well, although the thin does run into all the little cracks and crevices and that capillary action that it does, it is very convenient. There are times I want a stronger bond, and the thicker glue just provides that better than the thin. And as you can see, it does set up nice and quickly, and this ain't going nowhere now. So I like it. I like the thicker stuff for a lot of things. Of course, the thin that I have is the quick setting, so it doesn't give you a lot of time to play with your orientation of your parts before it's setting up. But also in that regard, the thicker stuff is kind of similar, and you can't move it around too much. It starts to set pretty quick. There we go. So there's our second one. Maybe not. Okay. So let that sit for a moment. Actually, I'm going to sit it like this, just so there's a little bit of pressure. No, that won't work. That's going to go like that. I'm actually going to have to hold this. Just the curvature of the fuselage wants this one to come apart for some reason. Actually, both of them. So I got to hold both. This is where the quick set would be nice. Alternatively, you can use a clamp. I don't want to use a super strong one, but I can just do that. That's going to hold it for me while I get the other pieces. There we go. Now it ain't going nowhere. Okay. Famous last words. All right. From here down to here, we're going to be putting on our big long side pieces. And those are easy enough to find off of the A tree. It's these two big guys. Again, because I seem to have misplaced my knife, I have to sand all these little nubs off. Or file them off. Which, although is a little more time consuming, does just as good a job. Where'd my little file go? There it is. Ah, it's bugging me. Where'd I put my knife down? This one came off relatively level. This one did not. This one's pretty good. If this were a Bandai kit, I really wouldn't have to worry about these nubs at all, other than fitment. The nice thing about having primered this thing, doing it this way, you can actually get to see just exactly when that nub is going down perfectly flat, because it removes the paint around it. And you just keep feeling, and yep, it's gone. Perfect. Done. Okay. All right. That's a nice big nub. There we go. And one more. There we go. Clean. All right. So, yeah, I changed my glasses to read that. Hey, Nico. Hello, sir. Nice to see you again. How are you? Busy as always. Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you in the chat there, Nico. So I know you're halfway across the world from me, that makes that a bit difficult. Okay, so these got to go on the sides here, and if we've done everything right, it all should line up. So, as I mentioned, these two pieces that I just put on, they don't line up here because this edge, the edge right here on this one, is supposed to tuck underneath of it in here. And so you got to get that lined up while you're lining up everything else. This is where I am going to use the thin glue once I've got this set in here. So it doesn't seem to want to line up. I can get the back lined up very easily. And I can squeeze that together like that, but we are not lined up here for some reason. There we go. That's the ticket. And it holds together because of just friction. Okay, that's going to be fun to paint. I'll tell you that right now. I'm tempted to actually put some masking tape in here now because it's going to be easier than once this is all in there and all together. No, I'm not going to bother. It's one of those things. See, by the time you go live, it's dinner time here. Big family, so indeed, short off tile. Sorry. At least I get to see you can on YouTube. Yes, that's true. Yeah, and I don't normally go live quite this early in the morning for me. It's usually a little bit later. So even for me, this is earlier than normal. Doesn't want to line up. There we go. Okay, I kind of do want to put a clamp on there, tape it. Just open up wide enough to clamp. Not quite. Woohoo! Yeah, well, let's get our thin glue out because that's what we need for this. Just kind of hold it like that while I do my thing. Now I need to change my angles. Let's do that. Still holding it on tight. I'm going to get in on the back side too, where it's contacting. Unfortunately, I can't really get in on the back side here too much. I'm going to have to get some tape. Hold it for me while I'm holding it in other places. probably using way more glue than I really need to, but I just want to make sure the whole thing is glued. As much as I can. And we're going to take this too. I actually am quite impressed with the seam line that's coming here. Although it's not a perfect joint, it's actually quite good. This side is almost perfect in how that goes together. I say almost because, well, I don't know. It seems to be one of those things with aircraft models. The rear fuselage, the way they decide to put this together with their two halves or whatever, seems to be always a challenge to get it to fit and not have to fill in gaps or anything like that. The question, what is your favorite kind of build? Tanks, airplanes, or Gundam? That is a tough question to answer. My favorite build. Oh boy, it's tough to say. Maybe airplanes. Maybe airplanes. Tanks, I find it's all about the weathering. Tanks are all about the weathering on them. Making them look old, making them look used. They got dirt, they got rust, they got damage, stuff like that. And then the tanks, you got the monotony of the tracks, right? You're either assembling 200 individual pieces of track, or you're going with metal ones or whatever, and you got to deal with pins and things like that. But in the end, they look cool. But yeah, Gundams are easy to build. The only challenge is cleaning up the little nub marks, and you've got a million parts. You know, you compare an airplane model where you're going to have maybe 5 or 6 sprues, or a Gundam kit, you've got like 12 to 18 of them. You got lots of sprues and lots of small parts on a Gundam, but they come out looking pretty cool. And you get the freedom to either just do them like they're brand new, or you can make them look old. You can do what I do and make it look more military colors instead of the bright flashy ones. It's a difficult thing. I would say probably the airplanes. It's probably my favorite. Yeah, but it's tough. The airplanes become, they're all similar. You know, you build the cockpit, you put the fuselage together, you put the landing gear on, you put the missiles on, you're done. Right? Pretty much, they're all the same. It's just what they look like is different. So yeah, that's the long and short answer, I guess. Looks like we're done with this particular page. So let's flip her over and see what we're supposed to do next. Looks like we're putting our two halves of the fuselage together and the nose, but we got to put a couple little niblets inside here first. So we need our D tree. That's always fun. It's always fun to grab the D. D35. Let's see. This is B. Here's one of our D's. D35, so I'm going to guess there's only one on here. 27, 28, 38, 32, 3, 35, yep. So, we have two D trees. So we got to grab these off of here. There's one. then off of our other D, we grab the same part. There we go. Okay. And now we need a couple of polycaps, because you know we have those, and we want a large polycap. Remember all these tiny little polycaps that came in the kit? Well, we got two big ones right here. When this is installed, what it's going to let us do is allow us to have our elevators movable. So polycaps go inside here. There's one and two, and facing the outside, these gotta go in this little spot right there. Okay, now again, I like the thicker glue because it's a bit stronger. Another one, you play games, Umbrella isn't that the corporation that started the Resident Evil games? Yes, the Umbrella Corporation was the company that developed the T-virus for, well, making you look much younger, which happened to cause the mutations in the cells that caused reanimation of dead bodies. And that whole thing. So yes, you're right. And thank you for recognizing that. Not many people recognize that. I had a friend who was absolutely obsessed with the video games when they first came out. He just loved them. And as much as it scared the crap out of him, he loved playing them in the dark. He just loved those jump scares that the games provided. And yeah, so alright, so we got those put in. Now we got to put our top down. And that is sitting over here. This guy here has got to go down on top. Don't want to trap my masking tape in there. Let's do a little test fit first. It is a little bit of a tight fit. In my test fits before, there was a bit of a tight fit. Of course, now we've got extra things involved, so making it a little bit more challenging. There, that's snapped in. There we go. Just as I was about to say, something is binding and not allowing it to go in, it snapped in. Of course, once I put some glue on there, all this snapping and creaking is going to stop. The glue almost acts like a lubricant. Okay, so yeah, that's going to go together fine. That's already together. So yeah, so now I got to pull it all apart and put some glue in there. Of course, there are little pegs that get lined up. Okay, there are these pegs up front here that go in these holes. And I actually, when I first opened up this kit and decided to try and test fit, these things really did not want to go in there. So I took a file and I just kind of filed them down to, it's not quite a point, but they're definitely narrower as they go up. They go skinnier up here, just to help get them in those holes, just to help line it up and everything like that. So I'm going to put some glue on there and there. I'll slather some glue down on these lines here. I'll put glue on these guys so they get glued into there also. And then for the rest, I'll just use the thin. Probably don't need to do this up front here, but just as a little added bonus. And then I'm going to put loads down in here. There we go. Okay. Hearing that crack is actually kind of a good thing, because it tells me it's finally lined up. Okay, here we go. So I am going to have to clamp this because it wants to stay lifting up here. So I want to hold that down just for alignment purposes. Even though just to keep everything lined up, I'm going to get some strips of tape ready. Okay. Look at the picture. The plane looks bluish black. The piece where the pilot maintains just walks on looks dark black. Yeah, there is. They put it's similar to the when you look at the F-14, that plane. They've got those patches, but that go in the back along the edge here and here. For when the pilots walk on, they're the anti-skid coatings. The F-18's got that similar thing. They just have a little triangle section like right here. The same thing. That's what you're seeing in that picture there. Okay, I gotta change my glasses again. But yeah, keep in mind that the picture that you're seeing there is just a painting or a drawing. It's not a photograph of the real thing. It's just to help keep the pressure on there. Gee, can you tell I forgot to prime the underside of the upper fuselage with the light gray? requiring a clamp. There. This side too. Yeehaw. Okay. It's looking pretty good. I think I've got all the spots glued that need to be glued. I think. I'll say that because I'm not 100% positive. So, our next step is to put the nose in here. It's going to go in here, but I want to give this at least a minute or two to kind of set up. So I'm just going to put that here, set that down. I'll take a look at what's next here. So next we've got our the nose. So we need A30 and 22 and 23. So going back to our A tree. There's A30. So yeah, the fact that the plane in the picture looks like a bluish gray, that's just something they've done for that particular paint scheme. And 23 are these tiny little guys right here. Okay, and we're going to need H6. Just a second here. Yes. So H6, they're not telling me what colors to do these clear pieces, or if we're supposed to do any colors. You know, a lot of times you got that gray, greenish color hue to them. Okay, H6 is this guy right here. Let's see. Looks like he used both the nippers, the cheap one and the Tamiya. Any reason? Yes. There is a reason why I use both. My Tamiya ones are new. I just got these a few weeks ago. These are my cheap ones for when everything's done and I just want to cut up the rest of the sprue, because these things are big and they're tough. And so they can cut the big sprue runners a lot easier than these. And I don't want to use these needlessly and dull them up on the big areas. So these are more of my delicate ones. These are my big meaty ones. And then of course I've got my God Hand ones that I use exclusively for my Gundams. Because these things cut like butter. Yeah. So in a nutshell, yes, that's why I have the multiple nippers. Okay. All right. So it's a little bit of a. Gotta be careful with that. I gotta go there. This is garbage. using my tweezers, this thing goes in the middle here. Like that. So, let's glue that one down. Okay. Now these guys, I should actually change my camera for you guys so you can see this a bit better. Let's do this. There we go. Sorry, guys. These guys are going to go in this direction like that. Just like that. And this guy does the same thing. Alright, so that's that. Now we move on to these other ones. We want H7 and H2. Here's H2. And H7, this guy. Okay. H2, we need to get this extra piece taken off of here. Throw that away. So, they show you how you're supposed to lay these down on these. So I actually have to take my glasses completely off to see. There is a little channel for them to go on. The fit on this is amazingly well. Except not on the top. Doesn't really settle in. It's got a little bit of play. So what I'm going to do is a little bit there, a little bit there. This is not going to be perfect, but it will allow me to get it to sit where it's supposed to. There we go. And then I'll use the thin on the lower piece. sure it stays. And there we go. So that's that. So I'm going to show you on my new camera, my painting camera. Just like that. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So that's those. So while I'm farting around with that, this should be okay to take the clamps off. And by now it should be perfectly fine to take this off. Let's see. Yep. I do have a little bit of a gap right there. I don't think it's... I'm just imagining things. Okay, so let's get the nose put on. So, I've watched on YouTube, I've watched 2 different YouTubers building this thing. Sorry, I've got... And both of them ran into a problem with a gap at the front here. It's actually right here, okay? They both ran into a problem with the gap here. One guy's solution was to sand this edge off to allow it to move back just a little bit, just that 0.5 millimeter to eliminate the gap. The other guy, he took a piece of styrene and just shoved it in there, 0.5 mil styrene or whatever, shoved it in there, then trimmed it off and sanded it all down and everything. Okay, so 2 different guys, same problem, 2 different solutions. Let's see what I'm going to run into. When I test fitted this, I didn't have a gap. So, we'll see how this goes. Actually, what I did have a gap. I actually had a problem where it wouldn't line up at all. So what I did is these 2 pegs here on each side. Now, again, I apologize that the thing is black and you can't see it. These 2 pegs right here and here, they line up right there on the fuselage. Okay, they got to go in those holes. And what I found is I just trimmed off the back of these 2 pegs, and that allowed them to line up perfectly, and then I didn't have any gap at all. So let's see how this goes. So again, they're lining up perfectly here at the back. How are we doing at the front? See, I got no gap. It is perfect. It's a perfect fit. A little tight, that's fine. A little bit of glue and a clamp and it'll be perfectly fine. And yeah, it is a pretty much perfect, no gap, no nothing. It just fits. And the only thing I had to do was trim those two pegs. I didn't have to sand anything, I didn't have to do nothing. And the gap is perfect. No problem. I am going to have to hold it, you know, I'm going to have to put a clamp on here to hold it down. Is it going to be one of these that holds it? Nope, it's going to be my big guy. My big clamp. The thing I hate about this is it's got so much clamping power that sometimes it wants to destroy the thing instead of, yeah, see, it's clamping it so much it's actually pushing it in. So maybe I just hold it and tape it and do that. Anyway, let's get this out of here now. And we're going to glue some stuff. I don't want to put glue here. I'm going to put glue on the pegs. Maybe a little glue in here. We're going to do with the thin. Okay. So starting from the back here, just keep pressure on that. And any bigger clamp and you'll crush the whole thing. Yeah, I know, right? Like, even that clamp I have is a little too intense. So I sometimes, like, I have a C clamp where you can adjust the pressure, but it's huge and bulky, and so I don't really use it very much. Just simply because of that. It's a little too much. But once in a while, I gotta break that thing out and use it. Just kind of suck it up and do it. Do our nose. Now, if I were to be comparing panel lines, yes, the line that's going across the nose there, yeah, it's big for a panel line. But it ain't no ½ millimeter gap like those other guys had. I'm actually really happy with the gap, simply because I hate filling in gaps. And although I am going to put some putty in there, because if I look through it, I can see light. It's definitely, it is a gap. That gap is paper thin though, so a little bit of putty just to fill it in, so that when I go over this thing with a panel liner later on, there'll be actually something to fill in. And so yeah, so there we go, our nose is on. She's starting to look a little bit like an airplane now. So we'll let this sit for a minute or two. I'm really happy with how it looks back here. It looks fantastic. It's perfectly smooth. It's all lined up really well. Really, really well. I got no complaints there at all. As you can see there, you can probably see with the tape, there's a little bit of a gap here. This sticks out just a hair. But it's not really anything to worry about. It's just the way it is. Okay, set that down for a moment. We've already done this, and so we're sitting here with that guy. Let's see, I suppose we're supposed to put that on right now. We are. And the back piece, the piece that goes here to fill in that gap, and the actual nose cone. So let's look at that back piece, E2. E2 is its own little tree. This guy here. Let's get rid of this big honking clamp. Okay, so there's this. And we got our nose cone. Grab our file because, like I mentioned earlier, I've misplaced my knife. These, they've almost, wow, they kind of undergated them like a Bandai kit. Ah! Okay. So, this guy's got to go back here. Oops, wrong way around. Goes right back here. And obviously, I'm not going to be putting it down over top of the tape. It's not much really to worry about for fitment. It just sits on top there. And that's that. Pretty simple. A little bit rough on those edges there, so I want to sand that just a little bit. Let's grab some, let's go 4000 grit, just to smooth that edge up a little bit. I don't want to change the shape of it, I just want to smoothen it. That feels a little better. Okay. Goes on there like that. And we call that one done. Way overboard by putting glue all the way along the edge. It's not necessary, don't need it, but just to make sure. Okay, now I have the nose cone. The nose cone I gotta clean up here. I gotta be careful because if I sand these down too much, if I go too heavy-handed on it, I'm gonna make it look stupid. And I don't want to make it look stupid. So that's pretty good. Never heard a plane making those. No, I've never heard that either. That's just the text tone from a coworker who didn't know I was off work today. I'm gonna have to edit that out when I upload this to YouTube. Okay, so we have this. The nose cone goes like that, and we've got A11 that's supposed to go in there. Let's take a look and see if I can put A11 on after, or if I need to put it on first. I need my A tree number 11. That's this guy here. Oh, that's funny. Again, they kind of undergated it here. without my knife, that's a bit of a challenge to remove that.
Okay, so if I put this on first, I get that later. Yep, not a problem. At the same time, I can just do it like this too. Doesn't matter. Either way. First or last, doesn't matter. Let's just put it on. Okay, let's put some glue on here. There we go. A little bit of pressure, but not too much. And just for added goodness, thing kind of disappears in my shirt. I should have worn a lighter colored shirt. Hindsight, I guess. Okay, that's going to be it. And that's where I'm going to call it a day. It's finally starting to take shape. Next is going to be a whole bunch of ailerons and stuff like that for the wings. But that's going to have to be probably tomorrow. Yeah. So that is not bad. I'm happy with how it's going together. It's looking pretty good. A couple little things I need to clean up. Like this needs to be pressed in a little bit better here and then held in. A little bit of touch-up things. Doesn't look too bad though. Make sure my alignment here is good. Yeah, just these little touch-up little things, but for the most part it's like 99% perfect. It's yeah, Meng has done a really good job on the fitment of this kit. We'll see what it's like with the Academy one, or not the Academy, the Hasegawa that I build, the F-18F. Yeah, so this is where I'm gonna leave it for now, guys, and call it a day. Let that set and make sure it's all nice and happy, and get that annoying crap off. Yes, Nico, thank you for watching. I appreciate that. It's nice having someone to talk to while I'm live. It's pretty cool. It doesn't happen very often, so it's a nice change. Thank you. And yeah, she's looking not too bad. I'm going to change the camera one more time to my new one, just because the lighting is a lot better on this. So here you go. It's, oh, it's even in the sunshine. Yeah, it's, the fitment is really well, really good so far. I'm really quite happy with it. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah. So with that, thanks again, Nico. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming out. And for you guys who haven't already done so, head on over to my YouTube, or if you're watching this on YouTube, why not hit the like button? And if you haven't done so already, subscribe also. And once again, I'll put links down below to my Instagram. You can check out my still pictures of everything, including my latest Gundam, which I just finished last weekend. And yeah, so thanks again for watching. Thanks for coming out. And yeah, we'll see you all on the next one. Annyeong!